for Tuesday, March 31st, 2026. Please note that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the Legislative Chamber alongside an automatic external defibrillator. Please stand for the pledge. First order of business is the Douglas County Board of Equalization. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson, Commissioner Kavanaugh, Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend is walking in. Is he present? Commissioner Morgan. Here. Commissioner Rogers. Mr. Chair.
Here. First item of business are items A and B. A being the approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. And B being a call for a meeting and set Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 as date for hearing on certified assessment corrections reflecting the addition of omitted property to the tax rolls or increased value on property. Do I have a motion and a second for both? Second. Motion by Rogers, second by Morgan. Please vote.
Commissioner Borgeson is voting yes. The motion passes 7-0. We may have to do a voice vote again, Commissioner or Chair Garcia, for voting machines not working. So
okay. Next, we have a protest item, item C, protest of rejection of homestead exemption for Thomas T. Von Schiffield for 18428 Nina Street, Omaha, Nebraska 68130. We have before us Assessor Goodwillie.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Goodwillie, Douglas County Assessor Register of Deeds Office. Let me give you a little bit of a synopsis, and let me preface it by saying in the 20 years of being involved in the homestead exemption program, this is a unique trust document. Typically, homestead is limited to owner occupants, but under some circumstances, property in a trust can qualify for homestead. And in those situations, typically the applicant has to, there are three things, one of three things has to be in the trust. The applicant must be able to revoke the trust, or the applicant must be able to put property in or take property out of the trust, including the homestead property, or the applicant must have a life estate. And typically the way we see these come in about 99% of the cases is Mary Smith is the applicant and the trust is the Mary A. Smith Revocable Trust. Or John and Louise Stone, John or Louise Stone are a husband and wife. One of them is the applicant. The trust is the John and Louise Stone Trust. In this instance, Mr. Von Alfeld is the applicant because he qualifies under one of our disabled veteran categories, but the trust is in the name of his spouse, who is not eligible, not old enough, doesn't qualify. And on initial review, the trust did not give Mr. Von Alfeld, the applicant, the ability to revoke the trust, the ability to put property in or take property out. And it didn't use the magic words life estate anywhere. And so initially our staff sent out a rejection letter. When the Von Alfelds filed a protest, as a matter of course, because I was going to be talking to you today about it, I reviewed the trust very, very carefully. And what I found buried deep within it is a contingent beneficiary interest in Mr. Von Alfeld that provides him a life estate, although it does not use the magic words life estate. But the text conveys it. And so I guess what I'm saying is this is a very unusual trust. Upon further review, our recommendation today would be to grant the homestead exemption.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Assessor. Discussion, comments, questions from board or public on this protest? There's a motion to approve the homestead exemption by Rogers, second by Morgan. Comment by Commissioner Kavanaugh.
I always seek these opportunities to be educated by you on these matters. It
Well,
sounds-
now, wait a minute. That's not always the case. One time you said I asked you what time it was, and you're telling me how to build you a watch.
And that's an example of this. I
There
don't think
you
I
go.
asked you a question yet, but I'm about to. Okay, so these trusts would be eligible.
We think this particular trust, although very unusually drawn, has the magic elements that would make these folks eligible. Yeah.
That would make it what?
That would make this applicant eligible for homestead.
Okay.
It wasn't apparent, it's not apparent on its face, but upon further review, digging into it deeply, I don't know if I would have chosen to word the trust document like that, but I think it does qualify.
Okay. So what are you asking us to do this morning?
I think you can grant the protest.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And the motion on the table does indeed grant the protest. Any other comments or questions?
Oh, good.
Larry Shore, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha 68132. Founding fathers envisioned bodies like this to be able to, the residents, we the people, be able to get help and go to request things that you're supposed to represent us on. So when I read the application and the possible rejection of the application, I thought, excuse me, here's some people that belong in that family, that the house belongs in that family. Why should it be so difficult for them to pass along the deferment of the taxes, or whatever the name is? Shouldn't be that difficult. They should be able to come here and get help, not debate about it and not a roadblock to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on this matter? If not, we'll vote. Motion on table approves the homestead exemption.
And we're going to give the voting machine another try here. So. No. Well, unfortunately, Commissioner Borgeson's machine's still not working. You're voting yes, Commissioner Borgeson? Okay. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to our resolutions, items D through F, which we can take in block plus adjournment if desired. Motion to approve D through F plus adjournment by Rogers, second by Morgan. Any comments or questions on resolutions D, E, or F? If not, we'll vote.
Commissioner Borgeson. Yes. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend. Yes. Commissioner Morgan. Yes. Commissioner Rogers. Yes. Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. That concludes equalization. We will now jump into Board of Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend. Here. Commissioner Morgan. Here. Commissioner Rogers. Mr. Chair.
Here. First item of business are under Section 1, items A and B. A being the approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held Tuesday, March 24th, 2026, and B being approval of the claims submitted for payment process through Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. Do I have a motion and second for both? Motion by Rogers, second by Morgan. Please vote.
Mr. Chair, if I may, before we vote, on the website, the minutes for the commissioners' meeting was also linked to the minutes for the BOE meeting. So the commissioners' packets have the correct meetings, and we'll get the updated version posted to the website. But just wanted to note that.
Okay.
Commissioner Borgeson, Commissioner Kavanaugh, Commissioner Fahey, Commissioner Friend, Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Rogers, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Before we jump into consent agenda, there was a request to do our recognitions and proclamations up front due to some guests that are visiting. So we'll go to Section 5, recognitions, proclamations. We have item A, resolution recognizing April as Second Chance Month, an effort to focus on prevention, reentry, and social support rather than incarceration. I will toss it to Commissioner Borgeson.
Thank you. This is a resolution that we have passed in the previous years, but again, felt it was important to bring it back and remind us of what we do here in terms of the second chance that we give folks that we serve. So whereas Second Chance Month is a nationwide campaign to unlock opportunities for millions of Americans with a criminal record who have paid their debt to society, and whereas every year more than 650,000 people are released from the state and federal prisons, some leaving with only a few dollars and a bus ticket to start their new lives. In total, over 70 million Americans have a criminal history record, which can make it hard to secure a steady job, safe housing, affordable health care, or a good education. All important things to have when trying to build a good life. And whereas after incarcerated individuals serve their time, they should have the opportunity to reintegrate into society fully. It benefits not just those individuals, but all of society, and is the best strategy to reduce recidivism. Whereas during the Second Chance Month, we lift up all those who have made mistakes, are committed to rejoining society and making meaningful contributions. And whereas my focus on whereby focusing on prevention, reentry, and social support rather than incarceration, we can ensure that America is a land of second chances and opportunity for all people. Now therefore be it resolved by this Board of County Commissioners, Douglas County, Nebraska, that this board hereby recognizes April 2026 as Second Chance Month in Douglas County, dated this 31st day of March 2026. I would ask motion to approve.
Motion to approve by
And I-
Borgeson, second by Rogers.
And I think we have someone here from Reconnect Inc. that would like to say a few words. Go, come on. Morning.
Good morning. My name is Clinton Osborne. I'm employed through Reconnect underneath of LaVon Stennis Williams. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today. LaVon sends her best regards. She couldn't be here today because of a leg injury, and she's out today. So I'm a youth development specialist at Reconnect. Recently promoted to youth development manager, overseeing other case managers for system-involved youth with learned lived experience, obviously, as well as the criteria that LaVon put together for educational purposes. I served a 10 to 14-year sentence. I've been out 2 years, worked for Reconnect for that amount of time. Recently got married. Yeah, I'm actively involved in the church community. I'm actively involved in serving the homeless community. I have had zero law contact whatsoever the entire time that I've been out. My life is very successful now. I've beyond what I could have ever even thought about or even imagined. I walked into the doors at Reconnect, and LaVon offered me an opportunity that she once had. To make an impact and make a difference. I continue to grow daily. I'm actively involved with other men and women in the community that are affected by being in prison and getting out and just kind of paying it forward in that area. I've gotten married and my life is really good. I've got a kid on the way now. I've established a credit score for the first time ever in my life. I could just go on and on and on about the things that have happened in my life and the changes that have been made and the differences. And I'm thankful and grateful to be able to give that back to the community in a positive way, working with youth to not make the same decisions, choices, mistakes, and changing their thought processes. I also get the opportunity now to go into DCYC and serve youth in there as well. So those are the changes and things that have been made. Again, we thank you so much for recognizing us and having us today here to be able to tell the story of how this does work.
Well, thank you for, one, having the courage to come forward and talk about it, and thank you for what you are currently doing to make a change in others' lives. Too often we hear only the bad parts of what someone does, but not enough, in my opinion, of when someone does turn their life around. And I have the utmost respect for Miss LaVon. She came after she served her time asking for her second chance, and she has given back to this community so much, and especially when it comes to the reentry and second chances pieces of her work. So you are a prime example of that, and we wish you all the luck in the future. Keep going as you are, and good luck with the new baby on the way. And again, just thank you for being here, because I think we need to hear more those who are successful in turning their lives around. So
Yes, ma'am. If
thank you.
Lavon was never given that opportunity to have that second chance, it would not have been extended to myself amongst many, many others. We serve so many in the community on a regular basis, different people every week. So them getting that same opportunity to be successful, we need that support. You said something in the very beginning that you walk out with, $100 and very little, and that's the truth. So to be able to have opportunities like this is definitely needed in the community, and the direct support is definitely needed. It makes you feel like you do have an opportunity, or you have a chance of making it when you get out.
Right. And Ms. Levon was one of the, was the one who went first into the prisons to begin a reentry focus on individuals, and then again serving the youth. So she's made her mark in our community and in our state, and you're again a very good example of that. So thank you for being
Thank you, ma'am.
here.
All right. Yes, thank you for coming and sharing your successes with us. We do have a motion and a second on the table. We'll go ahead and vote.
Commissioner Borgeson. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend. Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Rogers. Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We will go back to our consent agenda, section 2. I think we have a couple minor revisions and comments from Mr. Clerk.
Yeah, I think, Dan Ash Douglas County Clerk, I think it's just on A through E. These were all items that were held over from the last meeting, and the resolution, just like the last line that dates it, needs to be updated to March 31st.
Okay.
If on items A through E, and I believe that is it.
Okay. With that, I'll take a motion for items A through O. Without N, we'll take N separately. Motion to approve. Second. By Rogers, second by Friend. All right, comments, questions on consent agenda A through O minus N from Board or Public? If not, Commissioner Cummings, is that a light?
Thank you. Just for the public record, there is an item J here, resolution approving labor agreement between Douglas County and Local 251, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, representing Douglas County Youth Center employees, for a 4-year period between January 1, 2026, December 31, 2029. And we like to put it in the record when we do these contracts, the percent increase and the dollar amount. So I would call on Marcos San Martin to fill those in for us.
Commissioners, Marcos San Martin, Douglas County Administration. So, Commissioners, before you, item J is a labor contract. It covers the AFSCME employee group at the Douglas County Youth Center. That particular group is mainly the detention officers, primarily detention officers in that bargaining group, but also has support staff, also included at DCYC. The detention officer group, it is shown on the cover page there, the agenda request. The detention staff, I believe, is receiving this is a 4-year contract, so for 26, 27, 28, and 29 calendar years. The increase for the detention staff is 7% for 2026. I believe a 3%, followed by a 3% in the next year, and followed by a 3.5% and a 3.5% for those following years. The support staff, I believe, has a 3% for each of the 4 years, 26, 27, 28, and 29, which is consistent, which should be shown there on your agenda request form. I would say it's about 100+ employees, both support staff and detention employees over there at DCYC.
And the dollar amount increase?
Yeah, Commissioner. So the first year, this is just a ballpark estimated cost. That's 7% and 3% for detention and support staff combined. In the first calendar year, approximately about a $400,000 increase to the base salary rates for those employees. Second, third, and fourth years, approximately a ballpark is about $227,000 for each of the following years, year over year, for overall that contract. I think that's consistent with what Lori has had as well.
Okay, so the total cumulative amount would be what?
Total cumulative will be, if you look at it from year over year, about 2.9 million of an increase over the 4-year period. So that's having a increase in the first year of 400,000. The second year, an additional 227,000. Third year, an additional 227,000, and a fourth year, 227,000. So that's cumulative year over year over year. It should bring that base payroll, just my ballpark, it currently has, this particular bargaining group has about a $6.3 million base salary payroll. It should move that base salary payroll up to about a $7.3 million base salary payroll for that group. And a lot of those numbers are kind of prefaced on that the bargaining group stays somewhat similar in size and in distribution of the classifications.
20 seconds.
Thank you. I also have a couple of quick questions on item M, resolution approving an agreement for the county to award to the Bridge Family Resource Connector Network.
We're going to take that one separately, Commissioner Cavanaugh.
I'm sorry?
We're going to take that one separately.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And item O, are we doing that separately?
We are, and let me go into your second round so you have time for that.
Okay.
So, okay, commence the second round. Go ahead.
That's it on consent agenda.
Oh, I thought you had an item for O.
Do item O now?
Yeah, do it now,
Okay.
please.
Agreement with Unoya, a Beautiful Thinking Mind Company, LLC, to provide evidence-based HEAT and/or HER services to Douglas County Drug Court clients through September 2027. A couple of things. It says budgeted. I'm not able to parse out a dollar amount reading the backup, and so I'd ask for the total expense of this if we could have it. I don't know if there's somebody here from either the organization or the district court could address that. On these items, I'd just like to get the idea of what we're spending here in a dollar amount.
Sherry Larson, District Court Administrator. I'm going to let Teresa Noah, our Drug Court Coordinator, speak.
Thank you. If you could speak up a little bit, I have a hearing issue. Speak into the mic, yeah.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. In terms of the budgeted amount, we currently have a SAMHSA award that is funding $31,500 in support of the 3 contracts. The way that the groups are parceled out is that it's $110 that the facilitators would be provided per hour, and they also are provided $110 per week for documentation. In total, that equals $440 per week in order to facilitate these groups. The group itself is 36 weeks in duration, and that would equal $15,840 per group session. So we have the award to offset the cost through September of 2027 to cover 2 groups essentially during that year period. The budgeted amount was in consultation with the state, as they are the sustainability plan for this, that they would take over as part of the state curriculum. And that's the amount that they provide to their facilitators for the different groups that they provide. And so that's how we came up with the budgeted amount for those 3 contracts on the agenda.
And I kind of see that here where it says $440 per week for a maximum of 36 weeks.
Correct.
Is it possible to calculate an estimate of what that would result in over the term of the contract?
For the one group session, like for the 36 weeks total, that's where the $15,840 came from. Given the duration of the group in that 36-week time frame, which is significant, we anticipate that through the duration of one fiscal year, it would be that 36 weeks plus maybe an additional few weeks with regards to the total amount if they were to start a whole new group session. But that's where through the SAMHSA award right now, per year we have $34,500. That's paying for some additional costs, but primarily is dedicated to the facilitation of these groups to help cover it.
Okay. And the source of these funds would be what?
The federal funds through the SAMHSA grant?
Is it a blend of federal and local funds?
It's all currently it's all through the SAMHSA federal grant funding.
So this is essentially a pass-through through Douglas County. We're not putting any Douglas County money.
Correct. Correct. We have the funding available.
That's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on consent agenda items minus N? If not, we'll vote on those.
Well, Mr. Chair, I guess I do have another note to make
Oh,
on
go ahead.
on item F. Though on the website, it's linking to the backup of a different item. Again, you all should have the correct documentation before you, but the website will be adjusted afterwards. So,
Okay.
all right. Consent agenda, less N. Commissioner Borgeson, Commissioner Kavanaugh, Commissioner Fahey, Commissioner Friend, Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Rogers, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next, we have item N, which I think we took separately because Commissioner Rogers is on the board. So we're just going to take that one separate. Is there a motion second for discussion? Motion by Fahey, second by Morgan. Comments or questions? Commissioner Kavanaugh?
Yes, kind of the same that I did on the other one. Sir, if you could just help me out for a minute. We've collaborated with Bridge for some time. They are here, I don't know, second or third, fourth year?
How many years?
Yeah,
This is our third year.
third year. And as I, oh. Do you want to identify yourself for the record?
I'm Marion Fay. I'm the executive director of the Bridge Family Resource Connector Network.
Good morning, Philip Burrell, also Bridge Family Resource Connector Network.
Thanks. Real quick, like I did on the last one, I'd just like to have a public record of, what we're spending here and the source of these funds. And it appears, like the previous one, that this is kind of a pass-through of $700,000 over a 4-year period of the Sherwood grant funds to do nonprofit work to help at-risk youth in our community. Is that right?
Youth and families, right. Wraparound services for youth and families throughout Douglas County.
Okay. From what I can see, these are Sherwood grant monies entirely?
That's my understanding.
Okay. I guess my only question would be, and I don't have any problem with this, is, and this is more for my edification than anything, why wouldn't Sherwood just grant directly to Bridge rather than coming through Douglas County to grant?
The history of the funds are probably better addressed by someone who that preceded my time. So I believe that they're around prevention funds that were given to the county through Sherwood, but perhaps there's someone, a commissioner, who has more experience with the history of the funds.
Commissioner Rogers, you want to take?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, that's just kind of the understanding that was when the funds were there. So it was a pass-through for the startup to help with the complete pipeline from prevention to there. So it's just how the understanding was that.
Sure. Well, like I said, it was just for my own edification. I'm always trying to learn stuff here, but I appreciate what you do. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions or comments on this item? If not, we'll vote.
Okay. Item N. Commissioner Borgeson. Yes. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner, yes? Yes. Commissioner Fahey. Yes. Commissioner Friend. Yes. Commissioner Morgan. Yes. Commissioner Rogers, and Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioner Rogers abstaining, all other commissioners voting yes.
Thank you. That concludes the consent agenda. Under new business, we have 2 items, though one of them will basically be addressed at a later time. So item A was the continuation of the opioid funds discussion, which we briefly touched on last week. Administration and legal are still working on a formalized process to bring a bit more of a backing of documentation and approval process for the request. Therefore, it is going to take a little bit longer for that item. So we'll bring it back under unfinished business once it's ready to go, once admin and legal tells us it's ready to go. That takes us to item B, our resolution notifying Duets of the county board's intent to terminate the county's contract with Duet unless specific conditions are met. Before jumping into discussion, I did want to clarify and level set some context on this item. So if you read through it, it does pull the county out of the current contract and interlocal within the time frame specified within the resolution. But that is essentially tied to 2 different things that are happening at the same time. One is the culmination of recent history concerns related to some financial management and other matters at the entity of Duets that can be discussed further here shortly. And then the other item that's making this a little bit more time pressing is that the contract itself specifies that we have to give notice by April 1st, which is tomorrow, if we are to pull out for this these next coming fiscal years. And so if we don't give any kind of notice today, then we will be binded for at least another fiscal year, if not more. That's why those 2 things combined, the concerns and the April 1st kind of deadline, are kind of leading to this resolution. Just to specify, the resolution itself does call for the county's ability to pull out. It's giving that notice. But it also says if certain financial management and management matters are met that drastically reduce those concerns of financial stability and management, then the county has the ability to rescind the pullout and stay in the interlocal agreements and continue supporting Duet if those contingencies are met. So it's not an absolute pullout, but it is a legal notice of pullout and a request for certain contingencies to be met when it comes to financial management and financial stability of Duet moving forward. So that's the quick context for the resolution itself. I would request somebody to maybe give a very high-level brief history of how the county and Duet are tied, with ENSA being in the middle of that tie as the interlocal body that then turns around and funds and supports Duet as well, because not everybody might know that history. So if we can level set that context of how this is related to county government, just so the actual deliberation and questions can be more about the current resolution than the history of how we're here, why we're here. So I don't know if Patrick or somebody else, and I know Commissioner Borgerson, who is the chair of ENSA, might want to chime in as well at some point. But Patrick, I know you did a lovely summary on Gemini with the support of Gemini, but I don't know if you or somebody else wants to give that very high-level context of the connection and quick history between Douglas County, ENSA, and DeWitt.
Patrick Bloomingdale, County Administrator. I'm actually looking for that document I sent you because I don't see it here. But it's DeWitt used to be called Encore, and it's Service for the Developmentally Disabled. And it is money that comes directly from Douglas County, and Commissioner Borgerson can correct me if I'm wrong. And it's different from the money that Region 6 gets. Region 6 is only behavioral health, and this is developmental disability. And then there's also, under that kind of tri-legged umbrella, is ENOA, Eastern Nebraska Office on Aging. So we give about $1 million, is it $1 million to Duet? Or 880,000 to Duet annually, and that's been going on for a long time. I would say the 70s, maybe? That far back when it was Encore. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Patrick. And so there was a time around the 70s or so where the 5 counties involved in this interlocal came together, created ENSA, and fund certain programs like Duet and others, ENOA and others. And so this has been in place for decades. In more recent history is when the issues of financial management and stability have come into play, of which I'm not intimately aware of the details, so I won't necessarily speak on those details, but others can, and then some of it has been in the news as well. So with that, let's just go ahead and start the deliberation and the official rounds on this topic to include board members and public. And let me start with Commissioner Kavanaugh.
You know, I keep coming back to the same thing, how much money and where's it coming from? And if I hear correctly, this is $880,000 per year from Douglas County. Is that accurate?
I'm sorry. Say it again.
Oh, I'm coming to how much is coming from Douglas County, and if I heard you correctly, it's $880,000 per year from Douglas County?
Yeah.
Okay. The question here, I guess, is a little different than the others that were grant pass-throughs. This is more of a appropriation, I guess you would call it, which, in my mind, should come under the purview of the Finance Committee. It's kind of a budgetary question, and it might be good to know where we are in that process, because we got big budget questions coming up, and I don't know why we would take, you know, something like this separately from what we do with the rest of the 600 million plus budget. I don't know if there's been any discussion about having a Finance Committee hearing on this. I know that the Finance Committee has held discussions over the last year, which I applaud, over particular departments and expenditures. And this seems to me that it might fall into the same purview. I would ask my colleague, Mr. Morgan, maybe if you could enlighten us on that.
He can, just to clarify, the context of the situation is not so much can we afford the appropriation, but it's rather do we trust the appropriation to be well handled financially given the recent history of internal operations at Duet. But if Commissioner Morgan chooses to answer, he can.
I think there's others in line. So
Okay.
I'm sorry.
He's going to wait his turn, yeah.
I'll wait. There's some other people ahead.
Oh, I see. That's fine.
Discussion.
And I may come back on this.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Commissioner Friend?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Commissioner Kavanaugh asked a specific question. I think the answer, and I don't know if it's a good one, is that the Finance Committee, in my humble opinion, the Finance Committee didn't have an opportunity to dig into this. April 1st is a deadline that we have to respond in regard to the interlocal agreement. We don't have any choice on that. So this is our response. It might not be a tremendous response, but the reason, in my opinion, that this hasn't come in front of and by the way, we had a Finance Committee hearing 5 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, where Duet, ENSA, a lot of other unfunded or non-mandated services came in front of the Finance Committee and produced information in regard to their value add. I don't know about anybody else, I didn't know about any of these potential or I guess, theoretical financial issues or problems. The second piece is, since we didn't know about that, and again, I can't speak for everybody on the board, since we didn't know about that, we are pushing a button right now that says, we need to know. We need to figure this out. And this information provided with great help from the county attorney's office gives us that, I guess, long diving board to say, we do want to do this analysis. We do want the books. We do want to dig into this stuff, and we want to find out whether, if there were financial missteps and indiscretions, that we can get our hands wrapped around it and we can have some mitigation. We can have some rectification. I don't believe in reading this, it says necessarily anywhere that we're not going to continue down this road. We just need more information. So I'm not making excuses. I'm saying I've known about this for maybe 2 weeks. And, you get a finance committee hearing together in a week in order to get, so anyway, I hope I helped answer a little bit of it. We have a time crunch here. We have to make a determination. And with the help of the county attorney's office, I think we've made a determination, and I think hopefully we can gather data, gather information, not only to help Duet, but to help us get our hands wrapped around it. So, Mr. Chair, I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, but that's the best I can do as far as timelines at this moment.
Thank you, Commissioner Friend. I'll do one round of commissioners, and then I think County Attorney Klein wants to comment as well. So let me go to Commissioner Borgeson.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I do want to remind you that I did alert you twice about what was going on over the course of the last few months. And while I can't talk, and our county attorney's here, and maybe he can, but there are some current investigations that are currently going on. I don't have any problem with what is being asked within this resolution. I think it's a good resolution, other than I would ask that we change the intent to withdraw and state that our intent is to remain as long as these conditions are met. I think that sends a more positive message to those that are being served here in Douglas County by Duet. I can tell you we have a new executive director in place who we have the utmost confidence in, as well as lots of senior staff that have remained, and even today with the turmoil that the agency is in. And I think that, again, it would send a more positive message to not only the staff, but the families that are here, and there's some in the audience today. It would send a message that we're not going to our intent is not to continue, but our intent is to continue as long as these conditions are met. So I don't know how you want to, I would make that as a motion, as an amendment to the resolution, and that can be inserted on page 3 of the 6-page resolution. And then, again, continue on doing what these items say, because some of them actually in this resolution have already been done and are currently, or are currently being done. But again, I think they're all fine, but I think we need to send a better positive message than what the resolution says. And so, yeah, amend. I would ask that I make a motion to amend the resolution on page 3, stating that our intent is to remain in the 2008 interlocal agreement, as long as these conditions within this resolution are met fully.
Let me ask for a point of clarification from legal that I think might help in determination of how people react to this motion. Teresa,
Yeah.
is it worded as it is now, intent to terminate, in the hypothetical that within the next 6 months, the majority of the board does not see all contingencies met and does not feel comfortable proceeding in the partnership, so to speak? Is it worded as it is now in that case scenario where we do not want to proceed? We had given this notice ahead of time?
Yes, so Teresa, York County Attorney's Office. So the language as it is presented in the resolution is modeled after the interlocal agreement. That interlocal agreement tells us that in order to effectively withdraw from the interlocal, you have to express your intent to withdraw. And so we modeled this language after that provision in the interlocal.
Okay. Thank you. Let me go back to Commissioner Borgeson.
So again, my intent is to change the language that states, again, a more positive, that we will remain in the 2008 interlocal agreement, as did Sarpy and Washington thus far, pass resolutions in said forth, and that, again, stating that as long as these conditions are of this resolution are fulfilled.
Motion on table as stated by Commissioner Borgeson. Second by Rogers. We will discuss the amendment motion first. So if you want to comment on the amendments, keep your light on. Commissioner Fahey.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. I completely understand where Commissioner Borgeson's coming from. My understanding, and I'm probably just going to say what Teresa said, but worse, is we have to file a note if we want to leave ourselves the potential of withdrawing from the interlocal or terminating the interlocal. We have to pass a notice to terminate before April 1st, which is to say I'm concerned if the amendment's adopted, we will have not properly done that under the interlocal, and we won't have the option to withdraw after April 1st. The point of the notice to terminate is not it's not reflective of the overall attitude of the board. It's a legal requirement under the interlocal that if we're going to do it or leave ourselves the option to do it, we have to do it before April 1st, which was, again, Commissioner Friend's point about it being a fairly compressed timeline, even though Commissioner Borgeson is correct, we had notice in advance. So I'm not comfortable with the amendment. It has nothing to do with my desire to terminate the agreement, but we have to give if that's the board's desire to give ourselves the option, then it has to be a notice to terminate. I'm not sure that a notice to continue, I don't think that runs the risk of not fulfilling the obligation under, I think it's paragraph 15 of the interlocal.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Commissioner Borgeson made a good point. And I think it's probably because at times maybe I am a little thick on the uptake. We did have these discussions. I didn't mean to imply that Commissioner Borgeson didn't give anybody notice. I wasn't trying to throw anyone under the bus, and I hope that's clear. But my point is, being a little thick on the uptake, I don't think that I grasped the severity. And there's information, I think, over the last maybe couple weeks or 3 weeks, where I started to get a little bit of more of a feeling or an understanding of that severity. So I wanted to flesh that out. I certainly wasn't saying Marianne's a great communicator, and I don't think that was my point. And I probably wasn't very eloquent as far as that goes. Here's what I feel though, and it's an educated. It's a historic. It's my feeling over time, and I'm getting old, but my feeling over time, just working in finance and business, and communications, and in government. Government and governmental subdivisions are important. We all understand that, but they're also very good at appropriating money. Governmental subdivisions are great at saying, here's X, let's go give it to Y. But here's my problem, and this is why I think we have to take great care. Historically and typically, in my opinion, governmental entities and governmental subdivisions are not great at effectively managing after that appropriation is distributed. Because we don't have a chief executive above us. We're 7 executives, if you will, trying to make determinations about how that money's being spent after it leaves the county coffers, right? And that's really, really hard to do. It's a little easier if you have a militaristic, hierarchy at some private sector institution where the buck stops somewhere. You can go, well, that's where the money went. We have problems getting our hands wrapped around it. Once that money goes out the door at any governmental subdivision, it's really, really difficult. Government is not good at it. I don't want to sound like Milton Friedman. Now I'm dating myself. Government doesn't do a good job of it. We need to get our hands out of some of this stuff, or we need to get our hands in it and start causing, not problems, but start causing reactions to our actions. And I think this resolution gives us an opportunity to take 6 months, grab the books, look through some of these things, look through the audits and go, yeah, I think we're heading in the right direction here. I don't want to go down this road too far, but if we're not paying employees to do this job for our developmentally disabled, or if the train has gone off the tracks, shouldn't we know about it? I mean, we were invested, the county taxpayers were invested to the tune of $800,000. I don't get that dramatic. All we're trying to do is get our hands wrapped around this. If we can, I hopefully will know in the next 6 months. So again, I probably wasn't very eloquent earlier, Commissioner, but not an indictment of the way necessarily that we're doing business, an indictment of government in general. I have difficulty with it. And I'm sitting here going, okay, we better get our hands wrapped around it. So this is well written. To Commissioner Fahey's point, and probably to Commissioner Borgeson's, and I don't want to speak for anybody, but I think we're making some strides here, and hopefully we can get our hands wrapped around it. So thank you.
Thank you. Again, this is debate on the amendments. Let me go to Commissioner Morgan.
On this amendment, I think what Commissioner Fahey said, it gives us that option, and we only have today to have that clause in there, and I think that's important that we do have that. And so I have concerns. The other thing I'd say to you is we heard this morning about an extra $1 million that's going to be necessary in that contract on the youth center and other things. We're going to face some serious challenges ahead as we start to work on the budget in late April. Unfortunately, this is a decision we have to make today, basically, and I'm anxious to hear what the county attorney tells us, which I appreciate that he's here to make a statement for us. But I do have some concerns about it. And what Commissioner Friend said about, we pass the money on and then we don't really know for sure exactly what's being done with that money. And $900,000 approximately is a good amount of money. And I know that I think later we're going to have something, request from the sheriff and some other things this morning. So I want to be very cautious about that because I don't think any of us want to see us even consider a mill levy increase, period, in the future.
Thank you, Commissioner Morgan. I'll take a quick round to simply echo Commissioner Fahey on the amendments and the intent on the current resolution. More legalese than anything. It's the legal language we need to provide by April 1st in the hypothetical that we are not satisfied with the reformation efforts internally at Duet in regards to getting on a good financial stability and sustainability plan. I do want to say that I know there's a new leader in place at the management level who I think is a very bright person who has been doing a good job in trying to reform those efforts. So by all means, we have the intention of supporting those efforts and hoping that within the next few months, we will gain confidence in the management and financial sustainability of Duet. This is just the legal verbiage and procedure we have to do in the case that we are not satisfied within the next six months. But it also says that to anybody who has a contract with Douglas County, manage these funds well. These are taxpayer dollars. In this case, over $800,000 a year. Manage them well. And if there are issues, please bring them to light as soon as possible to this board so that we can help in the brainstorming of getting back on the right track. We haven't gone into the details of potential embezzlements and very severe cash flow issues at Duet. And in a minute here, in a few rounds, I'll give the opportunity for any representative from Duet to give any perspective they want to give. But these are taxpayer dollars. Manage them well, or they will not keep coming to you. That's for anybody, not just Duet. Anybody with a contract in Douglas County, okay? So this is why we want to see these contingencies in this resolution. And we will hoorah you to, hey, let's get this in order. Let's get this on the right track. And if we see those contingencies go in a positive direction, by all means, let's keep this going and let's keep helping people and let's do it well. So that's why I'm gonna not support the amendment in echoing of the, what Commissioner Fahey had stated. Commissioner Kavanaugh?
Looking at this thing, it appears that there have been concerns raised regarding management and financing and finances, which haven't been discussed here, and that's the reason for this. The notice that Commissioner Fahey points out is to reconsider our intent to withdraw from this funding within a 6-month period. And you know, I think both of those are real and need public discussion. The fact that we're just getting this today, I think, is an indication that we have no budget hearings, we have no finance committee hearings, not just on this, but on the over $500 million budget that we go into. And we haven't for years. The point is, we should. We could catch things like this, or we could at least know about them before we're on the brink of an April 1st deadline. I think this resolution is as good as we can do right now, but I really think that our Finance Committee should hold hearings like the Appropriations Committee does in other venues, like the Finance Committee here did in recent years and for whatever reason has just discontinued. And everybody could do what Commissioner Garcia is talking about, is come and make your case. Because, you know, today it's Duet, tomorrow it's, you know, you name it. And we need, as part of our job, to oversee the budget of Douglas County, and the mechanism for that are Finance Committee budget hearings. We need to reinstitute Finance Committee budget hearings on everything that we spend money on. People can come and proponents can come, skeptics can come, opponents can come, and the public will see the budget in the making. That doesn't happen now, hasn't happened in recent years, and we end up with stuff like this. I have no idea what the concerns that have recently been raised regarding management and finances, and we haven't heard a single word about that here today. But it appears that we've got the better part of $1 million going into this without a public hearing and a justification. As far as I know, you know, that's the extent of the concern, is that the concerns have been raised. By who, about what, regarding Duet's management and finances? I don't know. And I don't know if anybody here does, but we need to find out. We need to find those things on every dollar that we spend in our budget. So I support this. I recognize that this is a notice giving for right now, but we will return to this in the next 6 months, which gives us loads of time to have a budget hearing on this and everything else in our $600+ million budget. And that's what we should do. This should be a good wake-up call for Finance Committee budget hearings on the budget in the upcoming budget cycle, to shine a bright light on the public's expenses through their budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, we're still on the amendments. Let me go to Commissioner Borgeson.
Again, I would just ask the board to accept the amendment. Again, I understand the April 1 deadline and what the interlocal says, but I also think that it's important that we stay the course with the partnering counties and with obviously the people that we serve through DeWitt, that we will continue, again, as long as all these conditions are met. And so I would ask that you support that change to this resolution. Again, really sending a positive message to those that we're serving, that we're in it for the stay.
Thank you. Anybody else on the amendments? Again, this is not the main motion. This is just the amendment. Okay, let's vote on the amendment.
Well, could I ask Commissioner Borgeson to, just so if it does indeed pass, so we have the resolution correctly, where did you want this insert? Could you repeat the language you said and where you want it inserted?
On page 3, under 2, where it's stating that our intent is to withdraw, that change it to states its present intent to remain in the 2008 interlocal agreement with ENSA until, as long as the conditions of this resolution are met within 6 months.
Okay.
And then you would have to strike number 3 underneath there, which I don't know why it says 3 there, but.
Would A and just number 3, or like A and B and all that?
No,
underneath
you
it?
see on page 3 where it says 1, 2. 2 is the paragraph I'm talking about.
Yes.
I'm not sure why there's a 3 in front of that last sentence, but, or.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But anyway, eliminate that one as well.
Teresa, your county attorney's office. I apologize, Dan, I'm confused. So I just want to make sure we're clear. So if you change it to remain in paragraph 2, are you also intending to strike all of 3? Paragraph 3 is the things that you would like to see happen in the future for reassurances.
No, I said as long as the conditions of this resolution are met.
I think that would require at least a little bit of changes in 3 as well, if you go forward with that, because it says 3 opens with the board will reconsider its intent to withdraw.
Right. Okay, so that would be stricken as well.
But again, please note the intent to withdraw is needed to be able to exit the agreement.
Right. No, I understand that. I'm just asking again that our intent be that we remain, not withdraw. And again, I'm fine with all of the conditions that are set forth in here for us to provide, because we actually have many of those things already. They're done on an annual basis, so.
So Commissioner Borgeson, when you mention number 3, basically you're talking about striking the language, the board will reconsider its intent to withdraw if, and then number 3 starts with the word within?
Yes.
Okay. And then, sorry, Mr. Chair, the motion was by Commissioner Borgeson for this amendment. The second was by Commissioner Rogers?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And this is Just on the amendment, not on the
Yes.
resolution? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I will begin the roll call vote on this. Commissioner Borgeson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kavanaugh, Commissioner Kavanaugh. We're voting on the amendment? No? Okay. Commissioner Fahey? No. Commissioner Friend? No. Commissioner Morgan?
No.
Commissioner Rogers? Yes. Commissioner Garcia, or Chair Garcia?
No.
Motion fails 2-5.
All right, that takes us back to the main motion. I'm going to relook at my queue here. County Attorney Klein, did you have a comment on this topic?
Just briefly, yes.
All right.
Don Klein, Douglas County Attorney. Though I just want to give, this is just informational about this whole somewhat situation and our involvement. Maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, we were approached, the county attorney's office was, by the attorney who represents Duet, and regarding questions that he had about management and misstatements maybe that had been made. So we began to look into that as much as we could. But what we determined, and I'll just share this with you, is that there needed to be a financial audit, and we're not capable of doing that. So the last couple of days, I've contacted the state auditor's office, and they told me it was okay to tell you that, yes, they are interested and they're going to look into it to see if they can do an audit from the state's perspective of Duet. So regarding the financial stuff, that's just, I just wanted to let you know that's where we're at. Normally we wouldn't tell everybody that we're looking into something, but I think that's important that you know about that from your perspective, and you're informed about that, what's going on. And I talked to them, like I said, again yesterday. They said that I could tell the board that yes, they are looking into doing a financial audit of Duet.
Thank you for being here. County Attorney Klein, a quick question for you. And you might not know this, but is there a typical timing to those kind of audits? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months?
I
year?
don't know the answer to
Yeah,
that,
okay.
honestly, how long it would take. It depends probably on how easily they can access the records that they need to look at and get that information so that they can do that audit.
Okay, thank you. And quick questions for Attorney Klein on what he stated. Is this for him or is this around for you? If it's just a quick question for Klein, you can do it quick. Go ahead.
If we make, it's kind of difficult that we can't say, hey, we'll hold this over. We want to get that information from the state about what they find and that sort of thing. It seems like we're under the pressure that, hey, you've got to make a decision today. Otherwise, we're kind of locked into it, even with whatever he says, sort of. But I think if we pass this resolution, we then can withdraw because of the resolution.
Yeah, we would have the
ability,
option to withdraw.
Yeah,
within the next
in
6
6 months. So we'd be committed for next year if we pass this resolution for at least another year.
Or at least 6 months of it, I think.
6 months.
I mean, that's the ultimate question, depending on what somebody would find in an audit, and that's why we think that there needs to be one done. There's enough questions that were raised about things we just need to find answers, and that's what we're looking for, and that's why we ask for the auditor's help.
And I think Patrick can maybe find out, who does a good job for us, what kind of timing we might find with the state auditor.
Sure.
With this.
I can ask too. I can ask them, and I don't know if they'll.
That'd be great.
All right.
Really be appreciative, and then you can give our chairperson the information that you get on that.
I will.
Okay, these are just quick clarifications for County Attorney's Office involvement or our County Attorney. Commissioner Borgeson?
Clarify, because the state auditor has been involved for some time now with this. My understanding was your office got involved on the forensic part of the audit that is being looked at. And I thought you were asking the Attorney General, not the auditor, to take a look at stuff.
Well,
But the auditors already, Mike Foley has already contacted us and been in contact with our attorney numerous times about an audit that was done by the board of ENSA, and then we got them involved, the state auditor involved.
Well, first of all, there wasn't an audit done. It
Yeah.
was the Bailey thing was just a kind of a look at things and get an opinion
Right.
about some parts of it, not an
Right.
audit. And the state auditor hasn't done an audit as such. And there was a question about whether they would get involved in it to do an audit. And that was my question to them.
Okay.
And they said, tell the board that we're looking into it about doing an audit soon. And I'll find out deadlines.
Okay, and that's news to me.
Yeah, sorry.
Because I hadn't heard that. I heard the auditor had already looked and is working with our attorney for the ENSA board, and that your office got involved on the other part of it, and then you were talking with the AG. But is that not?
We've been talking to, I'm sure, the same lawyer.
Okay,
Who
yeah.
contacted us in the first
Yeah.
place and had questions about what
Right.
was going on. So we were trying to get answers, and we thought the only answers we're going to be able to really positively give if there's a financial audit done, and there hasn't been a total audit done yet.
But you were also given the forensic investigation that you are now.
We saw that letter
Yeah.
from Bailey or whatever it was.
No, right,
Yeah.
but you're looking into that piece of, so there's two things going on here.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, just so we're on the same page.
Sure.
I wanted people to know that the state auditor has been involved in this for a while now. And he's been given the information that we received or got from that audit.
Right.
Or the investigation that was done on the books. And now it sits in, and the forensic then was done, and that's what we're waiting to hear about. So just to clarify.
Thank you.
Let me go to Commissioner Fahey.
This is just a general comment.
Yeah.
Thank you. County Attorney, I don't have a question for you.
In that case, let me hold off. Right now, I'm just taking questions for him quick. PJ?
Yes, I just want to thank you very much and your team for what you're always doing. We don't see you that often, but really appreciate you coming here and talking to us. I mean that sincerely down the line.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's it for our county attorney. Thank you for being here. We're going back to the main discussion. I was going through the first round of commissioner comments, and then I'll go to public and also allow Duet some time if they would like some. Let me go to Commissioner Fahey.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. I do just want to briefly, I thought it would be better to make it a general comment than on the amendment itself. I thought Chairman Garcia spoke very well about the county's duty to manage its funds responsibly, its duty to the taxpayers. I do also, want to make mention of the service recipients from Duet, who I understand, really depend on these services, and they're very important. And I take our duty to make sure that the funds we're giving to Duet are well administered very seriously for the sake of protecting those funds for the service recipients. I'm very sensitive to how disheartening it is to see the county filing this motion to withdraw, even though this board has there's a great deal of support on this board to keep this going and to make this work with Duet and to get Duet to that appropriate place. I would, but we're under a time crunch. If we had a few weeks, I would love to have conversations with legal further about changing this to a motion to remain and understanding if we would be able to have the legal means to obligate Duet to comply with everything we would be putting in what Commissioner Borgeson prefers and understandably prefers to be a motion to remain or a resolution to remain. But we don't have that time. And so I don't have time to get myself to a place where I'm comfortable enough with that, understanding that we simply have 1 day remaining to file the notice to terminate, to give us the option to terminate 6 months down the road if these conditions are not met. So I am aware of the negative connotation associated with it. I'm aware that it's not a pleasant thing to be seen if you are a service recipient or a family member of a service recipient. But that is a legal requirement based on the language within the interlocal. And I just want to stress to everybody, the support on this board is to make this work with Duet and to get to a place where we can continue working with Duet so that there is continued financial support and above all, not a disruption in the provision of services. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fahey. We will take a moment. Before I go to general public comments, was there anybody from Duet that wanted to comment on where the agency is at this moment or anything else related to Duet?
Hi, good morning. I am Tiffany Malone, new agency director at Duet. I want to start by acknowledging the guardians, family members, and people we support who are here and online. And I appreciate your advocacy and willingness to show up. So I guess some background on my role in this and what I have learned since coming on, I think might be useful. So I've been in the role just about 4 months. When I first came on, I was told Duet was financially stable. That has not been my experience since coming on. Pretty quickly after starting, it became clear that there was pretty significant financial turmoil within the organization. Cash reserves were extremely limited, payroll continuity was fragile, and basically no margin for error. We didn't have room for delays in state payments, anything like that. As you've heard, these conditions predate me. They are now under investigation. Addressing them, however, is going to be my responsibility. And I am really glad to hear that the state auditor is interested. I want things to come to light, and I want a clear understanding of how we got here and to put measures into place to prevent it from happening again. So a little background on Duet. We're a $40 million organization. We employ and serve hundreds of Douglas County residents. We pioneered home and community-based services back in the day. We were at the forefront of that movement and were considered the gold standard of care for a very long time. We are now one of few providers still offering continuous residential services, particularly for individuals with complex medical needs. Those are medically fragile individuals who cannot be easily relocated or absorbed elsewhere. The risk of instability for them is immediate and human. I also want to clarify a little bit on our governance structure. We are established as a 501c3, but we are created under the interlocal agreement, so we're kind of a weird quasi-governmental entity. We have a board appointed by each county. They approve all significant transactions, and contracts are approved by our board chair. As director, I am responsible for day-to-day operations and carrying out decisions as authorized by the board within the framework established. Some of those decisions since I've started have been hard and came quicker than I expected, including eliminating dozens of positions just weeks ago. It's really hard, really fast. We're also pursuing a sale leaseback of Duet properties. These were not easy choices, and they were to prevent financial collapse. Sorry. When I think about the people we support and the guardians and the risk, it hits me real hard. So many of the financial tools like the sale leaseback, loans, and deferred obligations that we have undertaken to survive provide short-term cash, but they add new liabilities. They put water in the bucket, but they punch new holes. Each one increases long-term risk and reduces flexibility for us organizationally. What Duet needs to regain stability is unrestricted operating support, capital that allows us to stabilize payroll, retain qualified staff, meet obligations, and implement reforms without compounding future risk. Without that footing, we're forced into survival tactics that make recovery harder, not easier. I want to be clear, stronger governance, transparency, audits, and accountability are necessary, overdue, and non-negotiable. I've already begun reinstating our Guardian Advisory Committee and establishing a Financial Advisory Committee to provide greater oversight. And I will implement whatever oversight measures are required to ensure, again, that this can't happen regardless of who's in leadership. But reform requires stability and time. Reducing financial support while expecting sweeping reforms puts my organization and the people who depend on it at risk. It's not being resistant to change, it's just the math of my given situation. My responsibility is to protect the people we serve, support the workforce that serves them, and stabilize Duet so reform can actually succeed. So I ask you to fully consider kind of the scope of what's at stake, and I appreciate the words of support that have been expressed so far. I understand the need for kind of this resolution in order to protect yourselves and ensure that accountability going forward. But I appreciate how supportive you have been thus far in this process.
Thank you, Tiffany, for being here. We'll go into second rounds for debate and deliberation, some of which may be questions towards the Executive Director of Duet, but it will count as your second round. Commissioner Kavanaugh?
And thanks for coming today. You know, I have to admit I haven't been familiar with Duet's role in our community much before this came up, and it's unfortunate that it came up in this fashion because, as I read here, Duet provides residential shared living, nursing, supported employment services, and families report strong satisfaction with Duet's services. Important services to our community, which I support. The thing that I guess brought this up is, and this is contained in the resolution, that ENSA has represented that with the singular exception of Duet, its programs continue to flourish and remain free of any management and financial concerns. Now, I think I heard you say you've been here 20 months?
4.
4?
4. Just under.
These obviously predate you, as you indicated.
Yes.
Has there been correspondence from ENSA or anybody else to you as the director what these concerns are?
Yes, I am aware of the concerns because they're under investigation. I can't go into detail about them.
Can you share with us in broad outline what these concerns are? Because nowhere in here can I find what these concerns are. They always use the same words.
I don't think I can give more detail than that, given the investigations.
When you came in, was it as a result of some of these concerns, perhaps?
Yes. So
there's a management change.
Yes, these concerns came to light, my understanding, in February of 2025. An interim executive director was appointed at that point, and he served until late December. He and I had about 3 weeks of overlap in December.
To make an informed decision on this, we're going to have some idea what these concerns are. I mean, as a lawyer, I would be remiss to say, oh, well, you can just say concerns and then we can throw everybody out. That's not enough. We need to know, are they valid? Are they legitimate? Whatever. So at some point, we need to find that out from you or somebody, which we haven't at this point.
No, I welcome the auditor to come in. I would very much appreciate this coming to light outside of me expressing it.
In the meantime, I think we're all committed to providing these services to the folks who need them in our community. It's important. So,
all right.
Thank you for this.
This time, thank you. Let me go to Commissioner Morgan.
I think I heard you say, and I thank you for being here and your presentation, but did I hear you say you're going to sell some properties and then lease them back?
Yes.
And you really have had a lot of discussion about that because sometimes, I mean, that'll give you some cash flow, but that's a temporary step in some ways because, you know, I've got this restaurant that I own the building. Now I'm selling it to Commissioner Kavanaugh, and I got a lease from him, and that has to be paid too.
Yes, I have actively tried to avoid this as a solution, but at this point, given the cash flow issues, I have nowhere else to.
And once you sell it, keep in mind the other part of it is, and I can be corrected, but you're not paying property taxes now, but when whoever buys it's not going to get that same consideration, so you're going to be paying at least that 2% in taxes on the property.
Yes.
And I think there's some costs there. that I'd be really cautious about that and
If I knew I could
get the
obtain
best
the funds
in-
elsewhere, I would go elsewhere. But
yeah, that's really a concern for the future. Because once you start leasing, that's an ongoing forever cost. Where now you own that property, it seems like a better course, and I'm not for sure. I may be the weakest light on this board, but my concern is that's an ongoing, pretty difficult factor, and it could be better. And I don't want to give you bad advice, but it could be better to look at getting a mortgage on those properties rather than just selling them, because at least explore the idea and get some financial person.
I
to-
believe that option was explored.
Okay.
I
Well,
have
that-
very few options left.
Yeah, that's, it really concerns me that you'd give that ownership up, honestly. And I've
Concerns
done
me as
real
well.
estate for a long, long time, so I'm just
That's time.
concerned.
Thank you. Let me go to other lights or public if no lights. Anybody else from the public wanting to comment on this resolution/topic?
Hi, my name is John McCormick. My little sister, I'm her guardian, Jennifer McCormick. She appreciates all the services that the people at Duet have provided, and we hope to continue to provide. What happened to $11 million surplus with Duet? $11 million. That's a lot of money. Will anyone be held responsible? Or does white-collar crime pay without consequences in Douglas County and the Duet organization? I would like answers. I'm sure there are a lot of people. Taking money from indigent people of Duet is wrong and pathetic. It appears misuse and theft of this money has been brought to some of your attention years ago. My younger sister and many like her depend on these services. We want answers. I disagree with your knee-jerk reaction to defund an organization that is taking steps currently to get back on the right financial track. And I think this gal that's taking over is working very hard to try and make things happen, and everybody else that works at Duet. And we personally all would like this to be funded. And this, nay. I totally disagree with this. You're not talking about a large portion of your, what'd you say? You keep saying some huge number. Millions and millions of dollars. Anyway, hey, I appreciate, thank you for your time. I would love some answers, and I'd like some people to really pay for their misappropriation, misuse, theft. $11 million? Do you want to talk about 800,000 for 880 for a year, and you're gonna defund that because some misappropriations in the past, and you're gonna then reappropriate it to some other new thing because you think you got some better way to spend the money. I disagree with that. My father, Jenny couldn't ride the bus because Westside wanted to pay for the football program. So they're going to take busing down for my little sister. Hey, Bill McCormick went to Kansas City and hired the appropriate attorney. Something needs to happen here, guys. This place has been around a long time. And it should continue to always be funded. And I'm appalled. These people up here, this should be, you're the biggest organization that's funding Douglas County, right? And everybody else gets, they're all up on board. You told me that, right? Everybody else, I heard it today somewhere up here from some people here, that who are the other entities involved? Please, somebody speak up.
4 other counties are involved.
I'm sorry?
4 other counties are involved.
And they've already said, yeah, we'll continue to chip in because this is a great organization, needs the money, correct?
I'm not going to speak for them.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, quick. The clock was not on, but
Is my little sister going to be shoved out on the street? She needs definite care.
I hate waste.
Hey,
And I hate
believe me,
mismanagement. And if that's
40
happening,
years of UPS,
we're
I
robbing
hate
these
waste
people of
myself.
the services that they deserve, and we're robbing the taxpayers of the money that they pay. We need to fix this.
They drew a line in the sand.
But not by holding these people as the victims of this.
Absolutely.
We need to provide this service, but we need to stop the waste. And if there's waste going on here, believe
totally
me,
agree.
I want to find out about it and stop it. And if people have done things wrong, they should be held accountable. I agree with you. The services should be provided.
I don't care if it's Don Klein or whoever this guy was, or whoever we got to hire to do a proper audit. I want to know where the $11 million went. How do you go from $11 million to go into the red and we're going broke? He's got a good point. Hey, who do we pay rent to now for a warehouse on Blondo Street where we take care of people? I don't know. Somebody here should look into who gets the rent from that facility. 40 grand a month? We had a nice facility down on North 72nd. I used to visit my sister there. What happened? I don't know. I'm just very
Good point.
concerned
You're
about
raising
my
good
sister.
points.
What's going to happen to her and everyone else at Duet that needs these services? And you guys just nonchalantly just say, no, no, no. I don't think this is right at all. It's very disturbing.
Thanks for coming in.
I appreciate you listening to me.
You bet.
thank you. Commissioner Kavanaugh, anything else on that third 2-minute round?
It's just
There's like 30 seconds
emblematic
left.
of what I've been talking about. We need to find out what this is, provide the services to these people, and stop the waste.
Okay, thank you for that. Anybody else, Board or Public?
Larry Storr, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha 68132. I just want to add that I have never been allowed to speak over 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and never in the tone of voice that that gentleman did. And not one of you protested. You have interrupted me many times. Thank you for your patience with me.
Thank you, Larry. Let me go here first and then back to commissioners. Go ahead, ma'am.
Is there a way to adjust the podium for Jenny?
I think so.
Okay, state your name. What's your name?
I am Jenny McCormick.
Thank you. Some familiar faces, some not so. My name is Laura McCormick, and I help my brother John, who is Jenny's guardian. We look after her. We remain deeply concerned about what has been going on here. Quite honestly, I'm revolted by the behavior of this board. So I know for a fact, because I went to Blair, Washington County, they passed a resolution in support of Duet. So is Sarpy County. Yeah, that's a fact. If we take a walk back in time to the genesis of this entity, which I'm just going to refer not to it as Duet, but Encore. Yes. Here? This one? Here? Okay, so I'm not going to call it Duet. I'm going to call it what it is, which is Encore. Mr. Friend, you, in fact, are intimately involved with the genesis of this via your own relatives, one of whom was the president of GoArc. And I would argue that with intentionality, these services were linked to the county because of horrific abuses that are freely available to anybody who cares to take the time to read or learn about it. And the bulk of the population being here in the Omaha metropolitan area, that's why this was done. I take a point of exception, I believe, to some of the commentary about the history of this. The reality is that there were many lay people doctors, famous people who are doing groundbreaking work here in Omaha. We won awards. Encore won awards. You all wanted a piece of that. That's how that worked. And the grassroots advocacy that led to that, you now have taken, and over a period of 55 years, about my sister's lifespan, this has been driven off a cliff. So yes, this was a financially stable organization. I take exception to the wonderful financial stability of all the other entities under the ENSA umbrella. Alpha is a component of ENSA. I don't know that ANOA, I think there were, in fact, financial irregularities back in the day at ANOA. I don't know that anything was done about that. So I don't necessarily agree with this. I echo my brother's concerns. It's easy to sit up here and create legal language and say, no, no, no. My sister is not a potted plant. Neither are the rest of the people that receive services. Without these services, her life would be profoundly altered and in a negative way. You have a moral imperative to the people that receive these services. When you talk about your $800,000, if you have a $600 million budget, I believe the percentage of money that you provide, the county, to the operation of Encore is 0.0014%. And that's been in effect since 1970. I think everybody's budgets have increased quite a bit since 1970. Why isn't Douglas County ponying up more money for the needs of people like my sister? The building at Marion, which is the building my brother referred to, I believe that they owned that free and clear. I too visit this building when I come back to visit my sister. People were able to work there. They owned that asset. It's been sold.
30 seconds.
Replaced by a building that we now lease, which really truly is a warehouse. And what I would say is a point of, there are two people up here, and I am her advocate. Can I have additional time?
I can only give you 4 minutes. I'm sorry.
Oh, so Jenny can't have 4 minutes.
If she would like to speak, she can, yes.
What? Do you want to say anything?
I don't know.
Jenny is shy, and this is very overwhelming. And I think it's pretty disappointing that you won't allow her family member to have additional time. Is that what you're saying to me?
My dad died.
I know, sweetie.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yeah.
I'm asking you, the chair.
That's fine.
Time if I ask a question. So do you have anything else you wanted to add?
Basically, my comment is I want you all on the board to do the right thing. So, yes, I understand there's politicking and you choose a board chair. You also choose representatives to serve on the ENSA board. That does not prevent any of you who, by the way, receive a salary. I would say that most people living in Douglas County would consider this to be your full-time job. Now, many of you may have part-time gigs. I really don't know. But there was nothing preventing you from going to the ENSA meeting. I know, because I find my way there myself. So I don't buy, I just heard this, wow, it's amazing to me. I want to beat my chest of waste and fraud. Go for it. Find out. Please, hold them accountable. We want these people held accountable. Nobody steals from my sister and the people at Duet. Nobody, without me saying something. But to have to listen to elected officials who at any time, you have access to all the levers of power, way more than somebody like me. You could have gone to these meetings. You are all responsible. And the point of exception I have with Mr. Klein, okay, I have been corresponding with Mr. Foley, and I would echo what Commissioner Borgeson is saying. In fact, he turned this matter over to the county attorney. Now, I don't know the political hot potatoes and why we won't do something about this, but please, have a backbone. Do something for people like Jenny and all the other residents at Duet. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Ms. McCormick.
Okay.
Mr. Fahey, you still have 2 minutes if you want anything else. If you want to say anything else. You're good? Okay. Commissioner Friend?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just wanted to be clear again. I think it's pretty clear that the seven, I hope, the seven commissioners on this board want Duet to be successful. When I read this language and when I see what we're trying to put forward, we're asking for that accountability, and we want Duet to be successful. But we're asking for mitigation. We're laying down the law. Here's the other thing. All seven commissioners here have a story. We've all lived a long time, most of us. And my story is this. You think I'm doing this politically? I'm a human being. I feel all these things. And let me tell you why. When my sister was 18 years old, I was 25. She was hurt in a car accident. Ostensibly that day she should have died. She didn't. She lived 22 years with constant nursing care in a vegetative state. What I would caution anyone in this county, anyone in this state, anyone in the United States of America to understand that we all have stories. I have a story. I had an 18-year-old sister that I never really got to know. And she had constant nursing care for 22 years. She died on the day of that car accident 22 years later. It's affected me greatly. We all have those stories. Do not, anyone in this county, think for 1 minute that I'm making political decisions based on getting reelected or getting paid. I am not. I have a family. I have my Uncle Joe. Didn't invent this stuff, but he lived it too. We all have stories. I'm not mad. I'm saying I don't make political decisions up here based on stuff like this. We want to make sure Duet is feasible, functional, and we need to do mitigation that shows that. This type of language gives us that opportunity. Mr. Chair, thanks for the time.
Thank you, Commissioner Friend. I'll take a public comment and then Commissioner Borgeson.
Hi, I'm Kelly Spath, the Director of Nursing for Duet. You all sit up here and tell us that you want Duet to succeed, but what nobody has touched on is that the resolution includes a reduction of $300,000 that you guys provide for us. Clearly, we need financial help and reform, and this resolution, if passed, would reduce what you guys provide for us. Doesn't seem like you really care for us to succeed with that kind of language in the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me do this one quick and then Commissioner Borgeson.
Hello, I'm Michelle Pecklow. Kelly serves my ward. I'm the guardian of Jason Fizzette. Jason resides in one of Duet's group homes that is uniquely designed for those who are medically fragile and need daily nursing supports to successfully live within the community. Excuse me. It's hard for me. There is no other agency in Omaha that would be willing or able to provide the supports that Jason needs to continue to live in the community. That's the situation that I am in without Duet and the services they provide, because there is no other agency that will do this. Jason has quadriplegic cerebral palsy, a tracheostomy, and is very medically fragile. Despite these challenges, Jason lives a full and happy life due to the care and services he receives through Duet. He has a home, friends, activities, and loving caregivers whom he considers to be his family. He attends Jerry Grazer Day Service, which he loves. He participates in many community outings such as the zoo, shopping, movies, and swimming. This is extraordinary, considering the complexity of Jason's physical and medical needs, and a true testament to Duet's commitment and ability to provide the high-quality services for folks like Jace. This is very unique. The services provided by Duet are critical to Jason's well-being, and any potential disruption will be devastating for him, as his only option would be an institutionalized setting. And I'm not being melodramatic when I say that he would not survive that kind of a setting. He's been in the community his whole life. He's 54 now. Jason is voiceless and powerless in this world. He is nonverbal. And he relies on all of us in this community to ensure that he is safe and has the best quality of life possible. So I respectfully urge the board to thoroughly evaluate the potential devastating consequences for Jason and similar individuals who depend on DeWitt's specialized services prior to making any decisions regarding terminating DeWitt's contract. It is imperative that we exhaust all available strategies to provide the necessary supports and financial oversight to restore DeWitt's fiscal stability, enabling the agency to continue its critical mission of serving the most valuable citizens in this community, the most vulnerable and valuable, in my opinion. With the implementation of new leadership and robust community support, I'm confident DeWitt can maintain and enhance the high-quality services essential for our developmentally and intellectually disabled adult population, as it has done so successfully for so many years. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. Commissioner Borgeson?
Thank you, and I appreciate, again, those that are here and our executive director to be here. And Kelly, I'm sorry, I actually did miss that and wanted that stricken as well from my motion that I made earlier, so I apologize. I was just so fixated on making sure that we would be able to remain in the contract that that's what I was focused on, so that's my bad, and I apologize for that. But again, and I don't know if the chair will allow this or not, but I do want to, because I don't think we had public comment during my amendment process, that I would offer that again, language, especially after hearing what is currently going on to rectify this, that we go back to the amendment and state that our intent is to remain in this interlocal agreement, again, as long as all these conditions are met and at the current level of funding. And again, I would offer that as an amendment to this existing contract because I missed the funding part of it last time.
The original amendment motion has been voted down already. However, to the provision at the end regarding funding, I can commit to addressing that here shortly when the main motion comes up in a minute, if you're willing to wait for that.
Can I comment?
Yeah, of course.
Well, in the reason, it's a new, in my opinion, it's a new amendment, adding that we strike the last be it further resolved. So it would make it technically a new amendment to the resolution.
Yeah, in the interest of seeing that part succeed, I would recommend leaving the first part, which was a part of the original amendment that addresses the content of pulling out versus intention of staying in. That was voted down, but if you want to address the last part on the funding and make it its own amendment, I think that might be more viable if you want to see that part succeed, and I can make it a part of the main motion here shortly if you have interest in going in that direction. But it,
The amount, well, it's, the amount is to pay, it's to.
Mr. Chair.
currently.
I'd move to amend the monetary amount to strike 500 and include 800,000. I move to amend the motion to strike 500,000.
Current level, just say current level.
To include to reinstate it back to the current level, which was whatever the current level is without the cut. And I move to amend that for the last be resolved part.
Yes. Commissioner Rogers, could you
I can wait.
friendly amend that to say, take up the resolution as in the main motion as written, but strike the last be it further resolved, which addresses the funding. And if that's not in there, then the default would be to go back to what the funding level has been through the budgetary process.
If that gets us to the funding level, yeah.
Yes. So that takes up the main motion, the main resolution, as is, minus strike the last be it further resolved, which takes down the funding to 500,000. By striking that out, then essentially we go back to the default level, which will still go through the budget process naturally, but it takes out the reduction. You okay with that, Commissioner Rogers?
Yes.
Second by Fahey. Okay, so we're taking up the resolution minus the second provision, or excuse me, the final provision that addressed the funding. Commissioner Morgan?
I'd like to make a comment, thinking about, you know, you selling your properties, that I'd offer to you, and other commissioners can correct whatever I'm saying or whatever on this idea. The difficulty when you're selling your property and then you're going to sign a lease, and you're signing a lease for 5 years with a 5-year option or whatever it might be, somebody's going to look at that and think, well, maybe I should charge this much because I'm doing it with an organization that may not have the credit and all that kind of thing. And then I'm concerned about it, so I'm going to buy it for less. I'm glad to help you or to meet with you, the executive director, and a couple of your people, legal, whoever you say you want to meet. I'll do that free at whatever time you want. And I'll probably bring somebody, maybe, I don't know if it's houses or buildings, but I would bring someone from CBRE with me that I've known since they were 8 years old. That's one of their top people. And I'd probably bring somebody from Berkshire Hathaway's company that's been in residential, used to work for me many years ago in residential sales, and one of their top agents, if it's homes, just to give you an idea of price, not to get the listing or any of that, but at least to give you some advice about being cautious that you're not just on a quick path and not making sure it's open to some other things, and to look at it very carefully, because once you get into a lease, it's forever. And you may be paying, as somebody stated, $40,000 in rent, but you're also paying the taxes, utilities, and all the other costs with that lease, I'm sure, when the gentleman said that. You can't be just leasing, you know, you're doing a triple net lease. And
Yes.
you're going to take care of the maintenance and all those things now.
I appreciate the offer, and I would like to take you up on it. There is a very significant time constraint at play. The cash situation is sufficiently bad that we likely need to act on something where I can get a down payment today. And so I would love more time to make more long-term strategic decisions, but at this point I have zero runway.
And so you've got an offer and you're looking at that pretty serious.
Yes.
Was it out there that people knew about it? Or what?
We listed the properties about, 10 days ago. Yes, a few were listed that I would prefer not to have listed that have offers. I understand this is not an ideal situation.
And I'm saying something that I want you to be careful about. Be sure the listing agent isn't part of the buying group. And they can do that.
Okay.
Because you may not be getting the best, and I'm happy to meet you tomorrow or within a day, and Colby over in our office can give you my cell number and meet you for an hour and just tell you, hey, that price is ridiculous, and I hate to see you having a fire sale, you know, because if I had to sell my home in 10 days, I know what I'd get, a lot less than it's assessed for or
Yes.
worth.
I understand that I am at a negative bargaining position in this scenario.
Yeah, and I worry about that because we want to see this continue. And that's why I'm stating all this, because I feel bad for you and I'm worried about the future. And I can look in the eye and tell you, I'm really worried about it.
There
So
are
if you
good
decide to
reasons
call,
be very worried.
and
That's
I'm glad to meet with you
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank
really
you.
quick.
Ms. McCormick,
If any commissioner wants to be there with me, I'd welcome it.
A point of clarification.
yes.
The properties that we're talking about are people's homes. These are people that these are places where people go to receive day services. This directly affects people that are the most vulnerable in our community.
Thank you, Ms. McCormick.
My sister lives with Jason. I'm telling you that these choices that you're making, you may not like the runway. I can assure you that we do not like the runway. But this is a very serious matter. And I really would appreciate support from this board.
Thank you, Ms. McCormick. Commissioner Kavanaugh, you did technically have a third round already, but it was kind of meshed with Mr. John's comments. I'll give you a courtesy 1 minute, just the cherry on top. Go ahead.
I appreciate this. I don't think I can support any more amendments to this thing. Every amendment seems to try to water down what we're trying to get into, which is where did all the money go? How did we get into this place? And what about the services to these people? Giving them the money back, that's an incentive for, I guess, all these questionable things that the county attorney has looked into, has turned over to the auditor. This isn't good. This is cover-up. And the idea that we aren't going to give them notice that we're going to suspend this deal, that's not good. That's a cover-up. So we should just pass this resolution and get on with it, have some budget hearings and go into this thing, and quit trying to water it down and cover over what obviously is a really bad situation that has potential to affect our vulnerable citizens who rely on these services. If money's being wasted, it's being taken out of the pockets of the taxpayer and not delivered to the people who need these services. That's got to stop.
Thank you. Let me go to Commissioner Borgson's third 2-minute round, and then I think we have one public comment, which you're welcome to.
I'll let her go first.
Okay. Feel free.
Hi, I'm Mary Steiner with Duet. Your comments are a little frustrating, and I'm sorry to say that. What we do for the people at Duet means more than you'll ever know. We offer them a place to live. We offer them things to do during the day. We provide them with things that they can't get anywhere else. So we need your support. We need you to back us and understand where we're coming from for the people that we support.
I guess I'd ask, why is the county attorney looking into this? Why is ENSA saying
You
there
have
are
to look
concerns,
at-
and why
you
is
have
the
to look
auditor
at-
auditing?
Excuse me, sir, you need to look at previous, where we were at previously. We're under new management now who is doing everything in her power to fix what has happened. That had nothing to do with her or what management's doing now.
I didn't say it did, but what did happen?
I don't know exactly what
You don't
happened.
know? Okay.
I'm not at liberty to say.
All right.
But
Well,
we do count on all of you. And so do the people we support. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Borgeson, third 2-minute round.
Well, and again, what Mary just said was basically my point in wanting to change the resolution language so that we are in line with the other counties, letting the people know that not only work there, but more importantly, those that we serve, that we are with them. And again, we'll follow all of these conditions set forth in the resolution, but just changing that our intent isn't to withdraw, but it is to remain. And again, as long as these conditions are met. So um, I understand the last paragraph being stricken in, which is the amendment now on the floor, but I don't want to have the language continued in there as to the intent to withdraw from this interlocal. I think that sends a bad message. So that's why I'm asking. And again, I wish we would have had the comments during my amendment because I think maybe that would have changed some minds. But I can't support the resolution with that in there because it sends a bad message from the board.
Thank you. Just to summarize where we're at, there's a main motion on the table to approve the resolution as it stands. However, there was an amendment to the original resolution. It strikes the reduction of funding, which would have reduced it down to $500,000. That has now been stricken, which, again, by default, opens up the opportunity to keep it at level funding as previous years' level funding. However, that does go through the normal budget process nonetheless. So the resolution stands as written, minus the last clause that addressed funding. There's a motion and second for that main motion at this point. Was there others? Oh, on Zoom, sorry. I see one hand on Zoom. Mr. John?
Yes, thank you, everybody. I wanted, John Burns, I'm the CFO for Duet. Sorry, I'm stuck in the office today. I wanted to kind of reiterate what Mary and Kelly and Tiffany were saying, I've been with Duet for a tad over a year now, and everything that the leadership team has done is nothing short of miraculous. I think we've done amazing work to mitigate the losses, and I know that the board wants to see those allocation dollars that come to us to be appropriated correctly and the losses to be eradicated, and we've done that since day one. We've taken large steps and we've made decisions that we haven't always wanted to, but we knew were necessary to ensure the continuity of care for the individuals that we do serve. And we serve them and we try to do it to the best of our ability. Tiffany came on board and she's led us, through some of these times that we've never really, wanted to ever experience. But I wanted to make sure you all know that we are and have been and will continue to make decisions. And we've presented to Mary Ann and the rest of the NSA board month over month to show what we've done to get rid of the waste. And yes, there's an investigation going on that we cannot speak to. I wasn't around during the prior administration, so everything was a legacy issue for me as I didn't experience any of it, so I can't attest to it either. But we can only speak so much, but what we can tell you is steps are being taken every single week. We, as a leadership team, meet every week, and we work through any issue financially and operationally to make sure that we are correcting the wrongs of the past, and make our future more solvent, stable. And the only last point I have is, yes, with the reduction, I'd also like to have consideration to a recalculation to that amount, at least to be inflationary year over year. I don't have the formula that Douglas County uses now or did back in the day, but I would like that to be reconsidered as well. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I will take us back again to the main motion as summarized here a little bit ago. And as mentioned earlier, it does give a runway of 6 months to see those enhancements continue in regards to the financial management, overall management, governance of Duets, improvements to all of those things, and the potential to continue funding in the long term. So that is still on the table as well. We've explained kind of the content for how it's stated. So that is the main motion with the one amendment. And is there any other final comments for anybody who has a final round to speak? If not, we'll take the vote. No, at this point, it's the main motion with the one amendment of striking the last paragraph, be it further resolved.
We're not going to vote on that separately?
No. When I explained to Commissioner Rogers if he wanted to take it up as the main motion with the amendment, that's how we took it up.
I'm sorry, there wasn't a vote on this amendment.
We took it up with the main motion, yeah. So if you want to be against the main motion with that amendment.
No, I'm not against the main motion. I'm against this amendment. I'm asking for a vote on this amendment, like we had a vote on the previous amendment.
What happened was that we started deliberation, and then we considered the amendment, though we actually didn't take up a main motion at the beginning. So we deliberated the amendment. Then when Commissioner Rogers wanted to make an amendment, I said, do you want to take it up as the main motion plus your amendment, which he moved the main motion plus the amendment. That was seconded. So on the table right now is the main motion with that amendment. So if you want.
I would move that we take the amendment up before we do the main motion then. That's incorporating the amendment into the main motion, which is a conflation of the two, which is not proper procedure.
The way it played out, it is proper procedure, unless the full board wants to override my ruling. They are welcome to. Otherwise, since that amendment is in the main motion, you could actually move to amend, either putting it back in or whatever amendment you want to make at this point. You're welcome to make motions as well.
Can I say something to you? Commissioner Kavanaugh?
First, I have to finish this ruling. So there's a main motion as amended.
It is not amended. There's been no vote on this amendment.
I just explained how we got here procedurally. If anybody else on the board wants to overrule my ruling,
I
you
move
can
to
make a motion.
divide the question so that we can vote on this amendment. Sorry? Amend the amended motion to 500,000 or 300,000, whatever, 300,000. So that we can vote on that dollar amount separately.
Can you restate your motion to amend?
So the motion in its original form said shall be reduced to 500,000, okay? The amendment that Commissioner Rogers offered is to strike that and put 800,000 in there, if I understand this correctly.
No, it's just to keep it right where it is after listening to the needs and the.
Well, it doesn't technically
immediate-
do that either. It strikes the final paragraph, which procedurally, it's going to default to the level that has always been given. Unless
Right, which is not in the,
unless changed otherwise through the budgeting process.
yes. So I would move to keep it at its original form, which says shall be reduced to 500,000.
Okay, and you are welcome to make that amendment. That is a proper amendment. Thank you. Is there a second for that amendment to the main motion, which had it stricken? If no second, we'll go back to the main motion, which does strike the final paragraph, and we'll vote on that.
Commissioner Borgeson, Commissioner Kavanaugh, Commissioner Fahey, Commissioner Friend,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Rogers, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1. Commissioner Borgeson voting no, other commissioners voting yes.
Okay. Thank you for being here, everyone who came to address this topic. We will proceed on our agenda here to our public hearing, section 7. We have a item that is to transfer budget dollars that are set aside in salary adjustments account for approval, salary increases, increased budgets for sheriff, general assistance, and the employee medical insurance fund. This is a public hearing item, so I will now open up the public hearing for item A. And I believe our CFO, Lori Persh, is going to comment.
Almost there. Sorry, it's been a while. Okay.
Just use the arrows, yep.
Good morning, Commissioners. It is
Morning.
still morning. Lori Persh, Chief Finance Officer for Douglas County. I am here today to present the budget supplement. As you know, every year the board sets the budget in July for the fiscal year, which begins July 1.
Laurie, I'm so sorry. Can you pause until we get 3 commissioners back to their seats?
Okay. Thank you, appreciate that. No worries.
Commissioner Rogers, we'll wait for you. Okay, good. Oh, you good? Okay. All right. Go ahead and restart.
Okay.
Sorry, Lori.
No problem. Commissioners, if you turn to the public hearing tab of your binders, the slides are in there, but they'll also be up on the overhead here. There's only 3 slides. It's actually a very small supplement this year. So the total supplement this year is $3,214,740. Of that, $1,365,009 is funded, and $1,849,731 is unfunded, meaning coming from reserves. So just to kind of compare that to prior years, 1.8 is unfunded this year. In prior years, that was 5.5 million unfunded, 3.3 million, and 6.3 million. So I want to congratulate the departments, first and foremost, for doing a really good job of largely staying in budget. And also want to thank the budget team, myself, and especially Sherry Albin, who is my right-hand person. She's totally key in all of this for sharpening the pencils and really making sure that we have that budget tight so that these additional requests are quite small, actually. So usually you have, we set the budget in July, which was $636.6 million this year. And then we do a supplement in March, which is kind of the larger supplement, and then usually a smaller supplement in May, just for those departments that, for whatever reason, things that come up that were unforeseen, and they need a little additional budget dollars to get across the finish line to get to June 30. Also in March, we also do the salary transfer. So we have a salary adjustment fund, which is more or less a reserve that we set aside for the salary increase that the board implements every year at the last meeting of the calendar year for the next calendar year, and then also for salary increases due to union negotiations and contracts and that kind of thing. So if you will turn to the first slide. This piece is the transfers for salary adjustments. So the total salary adjustment fund, the reserve that we set aside for these increases year over year, we have 3.5 million. So we only have 3.3 million in adjustments. So this will not affect the budget at all. This will not increase the budget. It is merely transferring the dollars out of that reserve account and into these various departments to accommodate for the salary increases and for the contractual increases with the different unions. So $3,318,003, $2,595,914, which will go to the general fund, $15,458 going to community services fund, $137,440 going to the health center fund, $120,589 going to CMHC, $427,598 going to the health department, and $21,004 going to veterans. But again, no increase in budget due to this. This was already reserved for in the salary adjustment fund. Next slide. These are the unfunded adjustments. This is the 1.8 of that total, of our total request being 3.2 million. 1.8 is over the whole budget of 636.6 million is less than 1%. In fact, it's less than 0.5%. It is an increase in the budget of 0.28%. So it's a pretty de minimis increase, and I think I'm pretty proud of our departments for actually staying that tight on their budgets this year. The first item is an increase in the general fund for the Douglas County Sheriff. It's for settlement of a grievance regarding shift differential. It's only $51,731. I have Chief Rinn here. I'm going to let him explain because he can speak a little bit more to it. But my understanding is that this was the most cost-effective way to resolve this grievance. Chief Friend, if you wouldn't mind just giving a brief synopsis, thanks.
Chief Friend, Douglas County Sheriff's Office, Chief of Administration. So we received a grievance from Local 571 with regard to how the payments for shift differential was being paid out to their employees. I believe it affected approximately 80, maybe a few more, plus or minus. I don't have those numbers. Contractually, there was a renegotiation of their contract on paying out for approximately a period of 2 years. The former language used to state that you would get 60 cents an hour if you worked in premium hours past X and Y, and previous language is that you had to work the majority of your shift in those hours to receive that. That contract was changed, and nobody caught the small thing that really, if any of your shift spilled within an hour, whether it was 30 minutes or an hour, was the interpretation that was brought to our attention, and that actually did not make itself down to our people who input finances in Oracle and the payroll and whatnot. So it was determined through that we did some calculations that it was approximately for one 6 month period of time in the 24,000 range. I would note that even though the union was alleging that it was a 2-year span of time, through agreements, they agreed that it would be very difficult to calculate where people were working, where their shifts were. So we took a model of a known thing, which was where people were stationed and worked for 6 months, came up with those calculations of what shift differential would have been, and then we came up with an agreement that we would then double that to cover the span of 1 year. And all that, of course, was run through the County Attorney's Office Civil Division, and came to a common agreement that that was a very conservative way to meet the demands of 571. They were more than happy with that, even though the original request could have taken us back 2 years. We agreed upon a 1-year resolution to get that, and in calculating that amount is what you see before us. So we've received a waiver from 571 that they're happy with this agreement, and they probably have already received this money in their first and second pay periods after we resolved it.
Thank you, Chief Friend.
Okay, the next item is Community Services General Assistance Fund. We have been experiencing higher than anticipated direct client aid. They're actually seeking $383,000, but we only need to fund $358,000 because the Community Services Department has taken. They have 2 line items in their budget. They have administrative and then they have direct client aid, and they are taking $25K out of their administrative budget to apply toward the direct client aid. So we have certain parameters that we set, and I'm not even going to pretend that I know exactly what those parameters are, but if you're at X% below the poverty line, you're eligible for this much rent assistance and this much food assistance and that type of thing. And we have more need than we had originally budgeted for, people meeting those parameters. And so that's the request for the $383,000, the unfunded portion of which is $358,000 because Melissa Seawick and team have been able to allocate $25,000 of their admin budget to move to direct client aid to help support and meet those needs. And then the last item is Employee Medical Insurance Fund. We have just found that claims have been running higher than anticipated. This is a little bit hard to budget. I mean, it's obviously, you just never know year over year, quarter over quarter, when you're going to have, some spikes that were unanticipated. We have general guidelines that we can use to try to project what those medical expenses will be, but sometimes you have, higher than anticipated claims. So we're requesting another $1,440,000 to cover those. So in total, the unfunded adjustments, $1,849,731. Okay, now to the funded portion. So these are increases in budget that are being requested, but they have dollars to cover them. So the first one we discussed already, Melissa and team have allocated $25,000 from their administrative budget to be moved to the direct client aid to help offset that $383 of additional need that they're seeing. The second piece is the Juvenile Assessment Center is requesting $125,000 for scholarships. In the past, these would have come from CBA dollars, community-based aid, which is within the grants and projects. But we have a decreased amount of CBA that we received from the state this year. And so we cannot tap that for these extra scholarships because it's already tapped out, if you will. So we are going to look to fund these scholarships from the Sherwood grant, which is also within grants and projects, to the tune of $125,000. And then the last piece is $1,215,009 for community mental health. And this is actually offset by a revenue offset of, let me see if I can find it, $5,865,812.22. So net, we're doing a lot better because we're getting an extra over $4.5 million. It is a change in the funding mechanism from DISH dollars, which is disproportionate share hospital payments, to SDP, state-directed payments. I'm going to give you just a touch of background on this, not to bore you to death, but Nebraska implemented a significant change in its hospital funding mechanism, transitioning reliance from the DISH payments to the state-directed payment program. It was established by LB 1087. This shift allows the state to maximize federal Medicaid funds, and the first round of payments under this new system was made in August of 2025. So it was a little hard to budget because we didn't know what this was going to look like until we had the first set of payments in August. The goal was to bring in additional federal Medicaid dollars to support hospitals that have historically operated with very low or negative margins, and this will help improve the stability of those facilities. Under the new system, hospitals pay an assessment tax, more or less, which is what this $1,215,000 is, and that is used to leverage federal matching funds, which are then returned to the hospitals as larger Medicaid reimbursement rates. The approach is expected to generate significant funding without placing an additional burden on state taxpayers. So I think net, this is positive for Douglas County. I think last year the revenue proceeds were considerably smaller, like 120,000 versus millions. So this has been, definitely a positive. So it is a budget increase, but it's fully funded because we're getting quite a bit more than we did last year and quite a bit more than the additional expense. So any questions?
Thank you, Lori, for the presentation. We'll go to Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner Kavanaugh,
Oh,
anything?
I'm sorry.
You good? Oh, okay. Anybody on board or public regarding the presentation / public hearing? Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, Dana, Douglas County Clerk. Lori, I'm sorry, I meant to ask you ahead of time on the Jack item.
Yes.
For $125,000. So is that essentially later on the agenda 7A2? Are these the same things? So
Yes,
is 7A2 no longer, if this gets approved,
that
wouldn't
should have
be?
been stricken because
Okay.
it's incorporated into this larger resolution here. Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you for clarifying. Yep. I think the director for the Jack didn't realize that this was already going to be part of this. So
Very good. Anybody else during the public hearing? Otherwise, I will close it momentarily. All right. Let me go ahead and close the public hearing on this item. What is the will of the board? Let's do approved by Rogers. Second by Morgan. Please vote.
Commissioner Borgeson, Commissioner Kavanaugh, Commissioner Fahey, Commissioner Friend, Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Rogers. Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We will proceed in our agenda here to committees. Under finance, we have budget report as presented. And then item 2, so Mr. Clerk and Lori, this one no longer relevant because of the budget supplement we just passed? Is that what I heard? Okay.
Correct, yep.
So we can just strike that item, does not need to be taken up anymore. It becomes mute. We'll continue on our committees here. Human Resources Weekly Personnel Report as presented. And then we did have one resolution here, item 2, discussion and action regarding updates to the Douglas County Attorney's Office pay plan and deputies pay scale. This plan supersedes the 2022 plan. I don't know, Teresa or anybody else from your office wanted to give like a quick high-level overview of this?
Sure, Teresa, your County Attorney's Office. So this board passed a pay plan for the deputies of the Douglas County Attorney's Office back in 2022. We're just doing some updates. A few of them are just cleanup. For example, we didn't have a definition of wage compression. I'm not sure how I missed that, but I did, and so there's a little bit of cleanup in there. But the two main changes that you're going to see in the plan are we've added a definition for sensitive case pay. And then we've also went ahead and updated the actual scale itself, extending out the scale for team lead and attorney twos. Those are the two biggest changes for the plan and the attending scale. For sensitive case pay, that allows the county attorney in his discretion to provide an additional monthly amount of money. At this time, the group that would be eligible for that would be attorneys in the sexual assault unit. And that then would be a $300 additional pay element per month.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Take a motion second for discussion. I'll go ahead and move this item. Is there a second for this resolution? Second for this resolution. Additional discussion? If not, we'll vote.
Commissioner Morgeson? Commissioner Kavanaugh? Commissioner Fahey? Commissioner Friend? Commissioner Morgan? Commissioner Rogers is absent at the moment, and Mr. Chair Garcia.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Before we state the need for executive session, just a quick reminder, we do not have a meeting next Tuesday, April 7th. We will come back the following week on April 14th. We do have a need for executive session today for the purposes of legal advice, contract negotiations, and litigation. Anything else? And personnel as well? Okay. Motion by Morgan to go. Second by Friend to go into exec session. Please vote.
Commissioner Borgeson? Commissioner Kavanaugh? Commissioner Fahey? Commissioner Friend? Commissioner Morgan?
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. The board will now go into executive session for the purposes of legal advice, contract negotiation, litigation, and personnel. Thank you.
Motion to reconvene and adjourn by Commissioner Borgeson, second by Commissioner Morgan. Motion passes 5-0. Commissioners Kavanaugh and Rogers were absent. We're adjourned at 12:51 p.m.